Alright, boom, y'all. Gabe the Great back again. For those of you guys who don't know, my name is Gabe the Great. Former cult leader. Used to be in a cult. Now I am out of the cult. Been out of the cult for almost a decade now. I help deprogram people. And I just help people put people on game about cults, right? One of the biggest cults today is MAGA, okay? It fits all the criterias of a cult. I'm not going to go through that today, like all the criterias of a cult and why MAGA is a cult. Most cult experts believe MAGA is a cult. If you're in MAGA and you don't believe it's a cult, that's the idea. Like, cult members aren't supposed to know that they're in cults, or they're supposed to know that they're in cults and they don't care, right? One of the biggest things, I always tell people, the biggest thing that I learned when I left my cult is that truth doesn't matter. It only matters what people believe is true. It only matters what people believe is true. And if you learn nothing else, if you get nothing else from this video, I don't know how long it's going to be, but if you get nothing else from this video, what I need you to get is truth doesn't matter. It only matters what people believe is true. Faith is always more important than truth. 10 times out of 10. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It only matters what people believe. But today I want to talk about that, understanding that, why belief is so important. Now we need to talk about radicalization, okay? When people think of radicalization, people think of like little, child soldiers or, guerrilla warfare. Like, that's radicalizing. Like, that's a form of radicalizing. But what radicalizing really is just, it's really just getting people as far away from the normal standard as possible, right? And the way that you radicalize is through constant repetition. Constant repetition. What people don't understand about Donald Trump is, like, Donald Trump has, I've said this, actually back up from Donald Trump. Go back to 2015. You guys remember that Unite the Right thing where, like, the Tiki Torch people came out? I remember, like, seeing that happen from afar. Actually, I was still in my cult at the time. I came out of the cult in 2016. So I remember coming out of the cult and then kind of catching up on all this stuff. Because when you're in a cult, and that's something that I'm gonna help everybody understand in this video. When you're in a cult, you live in your own world. You're in your own bubble, right? Your information comes from the cult, your news comes from the cult, your way of life, how you live, everything comes from the cult. And it becomes one stream, like where you get all your information comes from one source, and it becomes the cult. Well, I remember back when 2015, that Unite the Right, Tiki Torches, everybody was worried about all the alt-right, everybody was worried about racism, everybody was worried about all this stuff. I remember as a cult leader, and even coming out of the cult, understanding that, wait a second, the left is about to get fucked up, because if the right is recognizing their need to unite, there is nothing the right can do about it. There's nothing the left can do about it. Faith and unity will always trump truth. It does not matter. It does not. Faith and unity. If I can get people to believe something, and if I can get them to unite around that belief, it does not matter what the facts are. The facts are unimportant. And so radicalization is not something people do. You can't radicalize somebody by themselves. You have to radicalize people in a group. And because if I'm telling you to do all this stuff, you by yourself may go, I don't know about this, or I don't want to do this, or I'm too afraid to do this, or I don't know if I should believe this, and what about this? Like, there's too many barriers. But if I get you in front of a group of people, and one person goes, and then another person goes, well, now there's that social pressure. Now there's that peer pressure, right? Now it becomes a little bit different. So this is why radicalization, it's repetition, but it's repetition in group settings. So for instance, in my cult, we had this thing where we counted the cost with people, right? Number one, we took people through a Bible study series, which, by the way, I'm deconstructing that Bible series. If you guys want to look on my Ko-fi, Ko-fi.com/realityrevealed. if you guys want to go through that deconstructing course. But we would take people through this Bible study series before they could join our church. That's already radicalizing them, right? Repetition. I get you in this kind of style of Bible study where you get used to this sort of, hey, you're going to take instruction from me, right? It's not, I always tell people this, and what we're talking about in this course is how you learn is what you learn, okay? That's another part of radicalizing. It's not just what I'm telling you to do, it's the medium through which I'm telling you to do it. That radicalizes you too. And so what a lot of people don't understand about radicalization is all radicalization is getting someone a little bit further away from the norm, right? So that you can get them to do exactly what it is you want them to do. So back in 2015, while the left was making a big concern about, oh my gosh, racism, the alt-right, this, that, and the third, in my head, I was like, wait a second. If the right is uniting, the left is going to be screwed. The left is going to be screwed because right now, what does Donald Trump have? Donald Trump has an entire infrastructure through which he can disseminate his ideas, his messaging, his propaganda, and nobody can compete with it. Truth Social. Y'all might think Truth Social is small, or y'all might think these alternative platforms like Rumble, and they pale in comparison to these larger networks, but that's unimportant. For cults, you don't need the masses, right? Especially when you have the richest guy in the world who has one of the largest social media platforms, and now you can use AI and bots and the, I don't know if you guys have looked into the dead internet theory. Like, the dead internet theory is very real, right? And so what Donald Trump has is he has this infrastructure through which he can disseminate his propaganda, and there's no competing ideas. Truth Social. You can laugh at how big it is or how big it's not, but there's a platform along with X, right? Along with Twitter, they can disseminate their propaganda, and there's no competing ideas. Guys, the brain has no defense against repetition. It doesn't matter if it's true. It doesn't matter if it's right. It doesn't matter if it's moral. It doesn't matter if it's immoral. Whatever gets to the brain the most wins. And so when Donald Trump has Truth Social and through X and these alternative media platforms and through the churches, he's found a way to get into the churches. The churches, right? The evangelical churches are disseminating MAGA propaganda. The evangelical YouTubers are disseminating MAGA propaganda. Like, you guys are like 5, 6, 7 years behind the ball. And this is why nothing the left will do. And that's the other thing. I talked about this yesterday, I believe. Donald Trump just says the left, the left, the left. But he doesn't ever tell you what the left is. He doesn't ever tell you, like, he doesn't understand Marxism. He doesn't understand left-wing politics. But he's given everybody an enemy to unite around and hate. And so what people got to understand is that you guys aren't going to stop Trump until you guys are willing to radicalize people yourself. The problem with the left is, and it's perfect. It's like, it's perfect if you're Donald Trump, because here's what I know about cult building. If you try to save everyone, you save no one. And that's just the bottom line. The left has failed to unite people around one issue, one singular issue. This is what all the great black leaders did. This is what Fred Hampton did. This is what Malcolm X was probably not as good at it, but he got better in his later years. This is what Martin Luther King was able to do. Like, you have to unite the people around one issue. Donald Trump has united his entire base around one issue. Hating the government. Hating the government. Which is something that at an individual level, everybody can relate to. So even you on the left hate the government, right? But he's got everybody united around this one singular issue. And the left sucks at that. The left wants to save everybody. The left wants to, okay, let's fight for the trans kids, let's fight for the gays, let's fight for the blacks, let's fight for the women, let's fight for it. You got to unite, right? This is why my platform and what I tell people, guys, we need to focus on the children. You focus on the children, right? My court case that I have in the Ninth Circuit Court right now, it is a way for 66 million Americans to be able to get justice for their children, right? Because one, no one's going to argue against children. No one's going to be like, oh, let's, fuck kids, right? No. If we try to build a society for the greatest number of children, meaning I want the Christian kid to be able to grow up in the same society as the Muslim kid, to be able to grow up in the same society as the black kid, to be able to grow up in the same society as the rich kid, as the poor kid, whatever. We need to create a society for the greatest number of children to thrive. If we all focus on that, we'll get what we want. But the left needs to unite people and radicalize people. In order to radicalize people, you have to radicalize people behind an idea. It's easy to radicalize people behind hatred of the government. Because if your life sucks, it gives you someone to blame it on. It gives you, hey, the government did it. Hey, these leftists, these Marxists. Bro, Trump's base don't understand Marxism. Trump's base don't understand that shit. But they don't need to. Because truth is not important. And truth or belief is more important than truth. And unity is more important than truth. You're not going to beat a cult with facts. You are not going to beat a cult with facts. You have to beat a cult by doing cult shit. Because at the end of the day, and I say this because we're in the process of dismantling my old cult right now. People don't like me saying this, but if you do not build infrastructure for stupid people, you will lose, bro. There are way more stupid people than smart people. You have to build infrastructure in such a way that it's very simple for people to understand. Hate the left, hate the government. His messages are very simple. And the left wants to be technically correct on everything. And so it's nuance. Nuance doesn't resonate with people, bro. People don't understand nuance. And so I'm now coming to a place where, even though I'm trying to dismantle my old cult, I'm at a place in life now where I recognize that cults are the way. People are going to turn people into celebrities. There's nothing you can do about it. There is an insecurity about existence where people don't know what to do here. So when someone steps up with conviction and says, hey, I got a plan, I got a way for you, people are going to follow that person. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can be mad at Trump, you can be mad at MAGA, you can be mad at cults. You can do it all you want to. But until you give the people something better to believe in, until you give the people something better to unite around, there ain't shit you can do. You have to radicalize people to the things that they need to be radicalized around. Or otherwise, bad faith actors are just going to radicalize them to their cause. But radicalization is not as bad as you guys think it is. As a matter of fact, radicalization, right, which is really just getting to the root. That's the crazy part about being radical. Radical really just means getting to the root of shit, right? And at the end of the day, people need to get back to the root of integrity. People need to get back to the root of truth seeking. People need to get back to the root of honor and truth. But but we're at a place in society that if we don't get leaders that are going to radicalize the population to that, bad faith actors like Donald Trump, like Elon Musk, and all the people who follow them are just going to radicalize them to themselves. So hopefully that helped y'all. Love y'all. Peace.